with his political analysis with ABC News. Good morning, Stephen Roberts.
Hey, McGraw.
So what do you?
Baseball season.
Happy opening day to you as well. So let's talk about this Supreme Court nominee for just a moment, because here in the middle of America, not one person in a coffee shop is talking about whether or not 60 votes or whatever else. The Democrats, I think, are barking up the wrong tree in the wrong fight going after Neil Gorsuch.
Well, there are a lot of people who agree with you. Neil Gorsuch is a very conservative judge, but also is a very fine person. And by any measure of quality and credentials, he clearly is qualified to be on the Supreme Court. So why are Democrats opposing him? Well, to some extent, they disagree with his conservative views, but by far the bigger reason is revenge and retribution. They are so furious that the Republicans did not even give a hearing, let alone a vote, to Barack Obama's nominee for this vacancy, Merrick Garland, that this is just payback. And it's just one more step in a spiraling escalation of animosity that's really going on for a long time over judgeships. And I think the bottom line, what's going to happen is that there will be enough Democrats to filibuster. Republicans need 8 votes to break a filibuster. They have 3 Democrats, but even some senators, like your own Claire McCaskill in a red state, voted for Trump, has said that she is going to vote to uphold the filibuster. So once that happens, I think what the Republicans are going to do is change the rules. They can do that with a simple majority and eliminate the filibuster on Supreme Court nominees. And by the end of the week, they will approve Gorsuch to this seat. But the cost will be very high. The cycle of animosity and resentment will only get worse. At some point, years from now perhaps, when there's a Democrat in the White House and he or she names a nominee that the Republicans don't like, they're going to remember this week and say, oops, maybe we made a mistake by changing the rules. But no one ever thinks about that. No one ever contemplates what the world is going to look like when the power balance changes. This week, however, they think they're going to win a big victory.
Donald Trump won the state of Missouri by 57%. I was really shocked that Claire McCaskill, who claims to be a moderate, who claims to be bipartisan, that she came out against this. Where's her pressure coming from in this?
Well, that's a very good question. I think part of the explanation is that she shares this deep resentment that many Democrats do, that it was the Republicans who really violated custom and tradition by not even allowing a vote for a full year on Obama's nominee. But I think also there are a lot of liberal pressure groups. We've been hearing a lot about conservative pressure groups, the Freedom Caucus, big money behind conservatives, the Club for Growth and the Koch brothers, who are urging Republicans to stay strong and strong conservative positions. But there is a comparable set of pressures on Democrats. You've got to remember, a lot of Democrats voted for Bernie Sanders in the primaries. There's a lot of liberals who think that the reason why Democrats lost is the party was not liberal enough, was not extreme enough. And so there are a lot of pressures on Claire McCaskill. Now, she's a senior person. She can make her own mind up, and there are a lot of cross pressures here. But there's no doubt that for some of these Democrats, they are feeling the heat from the left.
Yeah, I think it's a rare misstep by her. Let's talk about this border tax, Stephen Roberts, because Republicans, if they were not united on the Affordable Care Act and how to fix health care, it seems like there's a bigger mess when it comes to this new tax policy and reworking the tax code with this border tax.
Well, I agree with you. The Secretary of the Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, said, well, tax reform is going to be easier than health care. That's ridiculous. Yes, health care is an enormously complex issue, which affects 16% of the economy. Taxes affects everybody. I mean, there is not a single interest group, a single region, a single industry, a single economic factor in this country that is not deeply affected by the tax code. That means when you try to rewrite the code, it's welfare for lobbyists, and every lobbyist jokes about this, that what we need is a good tax bill in order to get the meters running and run up our bills. But it's a real issue because everybody is affected by tax reform. It's much more complicated even than health care. And the notion that somehow this is going to be an easier fight is just not true. And among other things, as you point out, you just take one issue like the border tax. Well, from an ideological point of view, there are a lot of Republicans, conservative Republicans, cheering, say, yes, that's right. We're going to make it more expensive for foreign companies to sell goods in America. But who buys those goods? They're consumers. That means consumer prices are going to go up. And so, you go to Walmart and you're a mom on a strict budget, and suddenly the sweaters for your kids are $15 instead of $10. You're going to be upset about this. So it's not as if that all of the interests are aligned here. There are a lot of deeply conflicting interests, and reconciling those interests in a tax bill is enormously difficult, and that's why we haven't had a tax reform bill for 30 years.
It'll be interesting. Stephen Roberts, ABC News political analyst, thanks for checking in. Have a good week.
Okay, pal.
8:58 KTRS.
You've heard of baseball.
Love it.